In today's practice, we will do a very gentle flow, including some half Sun Salutation A's or Surya Namaskar A, as well as working towards and figuring out how our downward facing dog or Adho Mukhasana and our child's pose or Balasana feel today. And so you might want a blanket to sit up on if it's really difficult to stay in an upright position. So if you find yourself hunched over, lifting the hips up on a blanket or a towel can be really nice. We will be in a seated position a little bit longer because we're going to work on how to do a body scan at the beginning of practice. I typically include these so that you can start to turn the focus inwards at the beginning of practice. If all you do today is try to keep the breath steady with equal length inhales and exhales, whether that's a count of 3, 4, or 6, that will be a good practice for today. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. You'll rest the hands somewhere along the legs, and you can have your legs in a cross-legged position like mine, more in a traditional cross-legged position. For many of us, we think of it this way. You can also, if this is too difficult, find any other leg variation that works for you. So again, you'll rest the hands somewhere along the legs. Use an inhale to sit tall, an exhale to relax the shoulders down away from the ears, and then you might close the eyes or gently gaze down at the nose. So these first few breaths are for you to adjust the pose if you need to adjust, so that you can find the most comfortable and still version of this comfortable, easy seat. And then you'll start to notice the rate of your breath. Is it fast or slow? And are you breathing into the chest, the belly, or both? With your next inhale, you'll start to bring your awareness to how the neck and the face and the head all feel. So we'll start to work on our body scan here. And as I encourage you to work through different areas, you want to see if you can identify certain areas that feel maybe a little bit more tense or uncomfortable, and others that maybe feel a little bit more relaxed or at ease. This is your way of taking inventory of your observations of how everything feels in this moment. And just a gentle reminder that one of these things, tight, not tight, is not necessarily good or bad. It's just a reflection of how you move throughout your day. So again, bringing awareness to the face, the head, the neck, checking in, then slowly bringing your awareness down to the tops of the shoulders, the upper arms, the elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, and fingers, noticing how they feel. Then with your next inhale, you might start to travel down the back of the neck to the middle back, the lower back, wrapping around to the sides of the body, noticing how the chest, front of the abdomen feel. Then you'll start to go a little lower towards the hips, upper thighs, working your way down towards the knees, the lower legs, the ankles, feet, and toes. So that now you have an idea of how everything feels in this moment. Then we'll start to bring our awareness to the mind, to reflect on any thoughts that have come up so far in your practice or your day. Has the mind been racing with thoughts, or has it been a little bit more calm? Do the thoughts revolve around a certain topic? And do they like to linger, or can you easily let them go? We'll take one deep breath together where you inhale for 4, then you open the mouth and let out a nice On the exhale, you can imagine yourself releasing any stress or something that's frustrating you so that you don't have to take it into your practice. So when you're ready, you'll inhale for 4. Breathe deep 3. Feel everything expand 2. Sip in the last bit of air 1. Open the mouth. Exhale. You'll slowly start to lower the chin down towards the chest. Leave it there. If you already feel enough of a stretch, you're going to stay here. If you need a little bit more, you'll interlace the fingers behind the head, pull the elbows forward. Continue to sit tall as you exhale, tuck the chin down towards the chest. 4 breaths here into the back side of the neck. You can stay here in this upright position, or maybe you continue to round the spine down so the elbows point towards the floor. Last 2 breaths. To make your way out, you'll gently push the head into the hands to lift the head up. Exhale to release the shoulders down. Inhale, shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale to squeeze the shoulder blades together tight, and then down towards the hips. 1 more. Inhale, shrug the shoulders high. Exhale to squeeze the shoulder blades together tight, and then down towards the hips. You'll slowly start to blink the eyes open if they were still closed. We'll start to add some bigger movements. So you'll inhale, reach the arms overhead, maybe look up, reach up. Exhale, twist towards the left, right hand to the outside of the left leg. Put the left hand behind you. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, see if you can now turn the body a little bit more towards the left. Maybe you can find a spot on the wall behind you, but try to use the breath to sync the movement. Last 2 breaths. You'll inhale slowly back towards the center. Keep that right hand somewhere on the left leg. We'll add a side bend. So as you exhale, start to drop the right shoulder down towards the right knee. And if you already feel a nice stretch on the left side of the lower back, you can stay here. Or you might inhale, take the left hand behind the head. Try to point the left elbow, left shoulder up towards the ceiling. You can look down towards the floor or up, depending upon how the neck feels today. And again, you can stay here, or maybe you take the left fingertips over to the right side of the room. Last 3 to 4 breaths, wherever you are. Next, inhale, you'll start to pull yourself all the way up. Turn towards the center. We'll do the same thing to the other side. So inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, twist towards the right, left hand to the outside of the right leg. Push the hand into the leg. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, see if you can twist a little deeper towards the right. Using the breath here if you want to deepen the twist at all. Last 2 to 3 breaths. Next, inhale. You'll start to rotate back towards the center. Keep the left hand somewhere along the right leg, maybe grabbing onto that left knee. As you exhale, lower the left shoulder down as close as you'd like towards the left knee. This can be where you stay, or you might inhale, take the right hand behind the head, pull the elbow back behind you so you can point the right elbow, right shoulder up towards the ceiling. This can be where you stay. If you'd like, you can reach right fingertips towards the left side of the room. Remember, looking up or down just depends on how the neck feels today. Last 3 to 4 breaths into the right side of the body. Bringing your awareness to how that area feels. Next, inhale, you'll start to pull yourself all the way up. And we'll start to make our way into a tabletop position. So you'll come onto the hands and knees. And if you have sensitive knees, you're welcome to place the blanket underneath the knees. Hands directly underneath the shoulders. Knees directly underneath the hips. Push the feet into the floor. And we'll start to wake up the spine with the cat-cows, making the time to do a little bit more segmental and slower movements today to really isolate each part of the spine. So as you exhale, tuck just the tailbone down towards the heels. Then you'll round the low back. Then the space between the shoulder blades. Finally, chin to chest. To work your way out, untuck the tailbone, drop the belly, the chest, and start to look up. So you can move that slowly if you'd like for the next 3 to 4 rounds, or as you exhale, Tuck the tailbone down, round the spine completely, chin to chest. And as you inhale, move towards looking up. Syncing the movement here with your breath, moving as slow as you'd like. And after your next round, you return back to a neutral tabletop position. Tuck the toes all the way under to stretch the bottom of the feet. This can be where you stay with the hands on the floor if you already feel an intense stretch. If this is okay and you want a little bit more, you'll walk the hands closer to the knees. Maybe you walk them up the thighs and sink the hips towards the heels. Find one point on the floor in front of you to gaze at. 4 deep breaths here. Trying to inhale for 4 and exhale out for 4, or whatever count works best for you. After your next exhale, you'll take the hands towards the floor, tap the tops of the feet out. When you're ready, you'll start to push down through the hands even more, lift the hips up and come into your first standing forward fold. So walk the feet forward, bend the knees as much as you need to get the belly closer to the thighs. Grab opposite elbows, relax the head down, breathe into the low back. Maybe you gently rock side to side. We're going to move into a twist in the forward fold. So if you can touch right hand to the floor, you are welcome to do that. If you have a block nearby or an object that you can put under the hand to lift yourself up, you can also do that. Or for today, you're going to take the right elbow to the right knee, bend the right knee, and then you'll inhale, reach left hand high to the sky. So left leg straight, right knee bent. Try to look up towards the left hand or down towards the floor, your choice. 3 more breaths. Next, exhale, we'll switch the side. So left hand either to the floor, an object, or bend the left knee. Take the left elbow to right above the left knee. Bend the left knee as much as you can. Straighten the right leg. Inhale, right hand high to the sky. 3 to 4 breaths here. Noticing how the body feels. Is there an area that is carrying more tension than others? Next, exhale, you'll lower the hands down towards the floor. Whether or not they touch doesn't matter. It's like bend in the knees, roll yourself all the way up to standing. Shoulders down the back. Head comes up last. Palms face forward for mountain pose, Tandasana. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. You might close the eyes or gently gaze at the nose. Taking a moment here to just observe the rate of your breath. Is it fast or slow? How the body feels? And the presence of any thoughts. Moving towards the half Sun Salutation A's. Feet can be shoulder width or hips width distance apart or a little bit closer. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead, tailbone down, look up, reach up. Exhale, bend the knees, reach the hands forward to find a forward fold. Hands may or may not touch, and that's okay. Relax the head. You can always keep the knees bent here if you need. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the front of the shins. Pull the head forward, head away from the hips. Exhale, back down, forward fold. Relax the head. Inhale, slight bend of the knees. Roll yourself all the way up to standing. Reach the arms overhead, tailbone down, head up, look up. Exhale, hands come down by the sides. Inhale, arms come forward and up, tailbone down, look up. Exhale, reach the hands forward. Slight bend in the knees here if you'd like. Relax the head down. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the front of the shins. Pull the head forward. Exhale, back down into your forward fold. Next, inhale. Slight bend in the knees. Roll yourself all the way up to standing. Reach the arms forward and overhead. Look up, reach up, tailbone down. Exhale, hands down by the sides. One more. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Tailbone down, look up, reach up. A little higher. Exhale, bend the knees if you'd like. Hands come forward and down into your forward fold. Relax the head. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the front of the shins, pull the head forward. Exhale, lower the hands back down. Relax the head and the neck. Inhale, slight bend in the knees. Roll yourself all the way up to standing. Reach the arms overhead, tailbone down. Look up, reach up. And then exhale, hands down by the sides. Returning into Tandasana, mountain pose, palms forward, project the fingertips down, shoulders away from the ears. Close the eyes or gently gaze down at the nose. Taking the time to check the rate of your breath, how the body feels, and the presence of any thoughts. We'll start to make our way into a downward facing dog or Adho Mukhasana. So inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. Hands come down. Place the hands about shoulder width distance apart with the index fingers pointing forward. Step back, find a plank pose. Tailbone towards the heels. Now you can keep your dog a little bit longer by pushing the hands down and forward and sending the hips high. But if the back of the body is really tight, you might walk the feet in. Then you can slightly bend the knees so that you can lengthen out the spine. Relax the head between the arms. Sink the heels towards the floor again, either with the knees bent or straight, doesn't matter. And then you can start to alternate left and right, heel towards the floor, bending and straightening each knee, noticing how that feels. Now, if you feel like you have more weight in the hands this way, then I need you to push the hands down and more towards or more away from the body so that you can sink the heels towards the floor. Last 2 breaths. Next, exhale. You'll start to lower the knees down towards the floor, moving towards a child's pose or Balasana. Bring the big toes to touch. This is a wide-legged one. Bring the knees a little further apart. Walk the hands down and forward. Relax the forehead towards the floor. If it's difficult to meet forehead to floor, you can take your blanket or towel and place it underneath the forehead. You want to try and push the hands more down and forward towards the top of the mat to sink the hips towards the heels. Last 3 to 4 breaths here, breathing into the low back. Next, inhale, you'll start to lift the head up. Walk the hands a little closer and move the blanket out of the way. So we're going to add a gentle side bend to our child's pose. Walk the hands back out, and you'll walk then the hands over towards the right side. Keep the left hand down, right hand on top. Exhale, sink the left shoulder down and back towards the left knee. 3 to 4 breaths here. Next, inhale, you'll walk the hands back towards the center and then over towards the left. So keep right hand down, left hand on top. Exhale, sink the right shoulder down and back towards the right knee. Last couple of breaths here. Inhale, back to center. Then walk the hands towards the knees to lift the chest. We're going to start to make our way onto the back. So once you're onto the back, keep the knees bent, the low back flat on the floor. Maybe gently rock the knees side to side, keeping the low back and hips heavy towards the floor. Small movements here are perfectly okay. And then we're going to start to move towards a spinal twist. So inhale, bring the knees towards the chest. And then as you exhale, allow the knees to fall towards the right. Try to keep your left shoulder heavy towards the floor. You can take the right hand to the outside of the left knee. And today you might play with the position of the head. So when you look towards the left or the right, does it change how this twist feels? And you have 6 breaths here, trying to lengthen out the exhales, each one a little longer than the one before it. Taking the time to observe how this feels in the body. And if you notice any thoughts coming up. So the biggest thing we can do in our yoga practice is to observe how the body feels and the presence of any thoughts, maybe even the quality of our thoughts when we're in different postures. Inhale towards the center, changing to the other side. Exhale, knees go towards the left. Try to keep the right shoulder heavy towards the floor. You can take that left hand somewhere on the outside of the right leg. And if it's difficult to go into this twist or to keep the right shoulder down, you can always roll up a blanket or a towel or put a pillow underneath the legs on the left side. Another 5 to 6 breaths here. Again, you can experiment with the direction that your head points. Trying to lengthen out the exhales. Next inhale, you'll bring everything back towards the center. Maybe you place the feet onto the floor and rock the knees side to side, checking in again with how this feels. And then we're going to do the breathing practice with the knees bent today. So if the low back is a little sensitive, you can walk the feet wider towards the outside of the hips and then drop the knees in. Sometimes this can help just the low back relax. You're going to take the left hand, put it onto the lower abdomen, just beneath the belly button, and then the right hand onto the chest. So we're going to use this feedback to just observe how we're breathing in this moment. And so you might close the eyes and take 4 breaths. Normal breaths here, just notice which hand lifts as you inhale. Maybe it's both. I'm going to challenge you for the next 4 breaths to try and get the left hand over the belly to lift first as you inhale. So as you inhale, feel the belly push into the left hand, and then maybe the hand over the chest. Then as you exhale, see if you can have the chest hand lower first, and then the hand that's on the belly. 4 breaths like this. So again, seeing if you can get the hand on the belly to lift first as you inhale, and then the hand on the chest. And then as you exhale, hand on the chest first falls, and then the hand on the belly. And this could be difficult for a lot of different reasons. If you're holding any amount of stress in the body, sometimes we like to breathe more into the chest. And so just practicing patience and kindness with yourself if this is a little bit more difficult today. The next 4 breaths, you're going to try and keep with that same pattern of breathing first into the belly and then the chest as you inhale. But we're going to do that for a count of 4 in and a count of 4 out. So I will count that for you. So you might close the eyes and just tune into the hands and the body. So when you're ready, you'll inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, out. 4, 3, 2, 1, in. 4, 3, 2, 1, out. 4, 3, 2, 1, in. 4, 3, 2, 1, out. 4, 3, 2, 1, in. 4, 3, 2, 1, out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Long inhale. Nice long exhale. You can slowly start to take the hands out to the side, moving into a traditional pose for Savasana or corpse pose. So stretch the legs long away from the body. Allow the feet to fall out to the sides, palm face up towards the ceiling. Try to tuck the shoulders under, and then you can bring the eyelids down so that you close the eyes. Or if that's uncomfortable, you can always find one point on the ceiling to gaze at. If this is uncomfortable for the low back, you might slide blanket underneath the knees while you lay back. So the way that we end the practice is in Shavasana, this corpse pose, allowing yourself to take this time to reset the nervous system, the body, the mind. And with each next exhale, you'll want to allow yourself to feel more supported by the ground beneath you. So that as you continue to exhale, you might allow yourself to sink into this support. So that as the body feels more comfortable, it might release any remaining tension that it's holding on to. And in time, you might find this state of being that's right before you fall asleep, where the body is heavy, fully relaxed, resting, almost sinking into the support that is beneath it. And the mind is calm but present, so that maybe you can take these next 2 to 3 minutes to find stillness in the body and the mind, to rest and recover here. If it's difficult to quiet the mind, you might just allow yourself to observe whatever comes up and seeing if you can let it go by encouraging the thought to float out of the mind space, whether that's floating it down a river or on a leaf in the wind or whatever works best for you. I'll start to play this tongue drum if you might need to turn up the volume a little bit, or just see if you can tune into the sounds, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. with your next inhale, notice how the belly or the chest rises. And with your next exhale, notice how they fall. So that as you bring awareness to the movement of the breath, you allow yourself to come back into this current moment so you can slowly start to wake yourself up. You might start with small movements of the toes and the fingers, and eventually start to circle the wrists, the ankles. Maybe you gently rock the head side to side or make a big stretch overhead. Any movement that you might need here. So that with your next exhale, you can roll to one side, taking a breath or two there. And eventually you'll make your way up into a comfortable seat in the center of your space, where you can rest the hands somewhere along the legs. You might close the eyes or gently gaze down at the nose, allowing ourselves to end the practice in this comfortable seat. You're always welcome to bring the palms together in the center of the chest. This is called Anjali Mudra. This is a hand gesture that can help us remember this ability to connect between the left and the right sides of the brain, the body. And if you leave a little gap between the palms, it can remind you to hold space, to respect, yourself, but as well as others around you. And so you might take this time to thank yourself for showing up to your mat, for dedicating this time to yourself and to your practice. Most of all, I would encourage you to thank your body for what it has allowed you to do today. When you're ready, you'll slowly start to blink the eyes open. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me guide your practice. If you have any questions, feedback, I'm always happy to hear it. And I hope you have a good one.